in economy, they talked about the poles that change economy. The pole that change things is about now in Uganda, our economy is talking about anything. That pole in the middle is when you want to change it, there must be a resource. There must be money. If you don't have money, you will not change anything. So first of all, there should be reason for people to respect them, which they should find out themselves as Rodi. Why are our people's subjects are not respecting us? They should find it themselves. Why are they not being respected? When their father was respected, because this was inherited, they inherited. So first of all, your father was respected that time. That generation was why they should be. For me, I think the society is changed. The society go where they get something. If there's nothing productive from road, people will not go. They will go where they come, they sit down, they give them soda, they give them water, they give.
They fail me separating administrative structure to cultural structure. Administrative structure we are implementing ngoma culture logo in pay actually. Nyotachel katie. Jona ye de implementer. In it would may woro Peter Dago Dago Pawano woro with due respect. Peter Ramo Dago la choping you know petit me. Umiro ki kill report a killer. In a directive when Dano Kushaklu ngoma gitimo. Joma meru ku implementing directive egipe the structure me lot megwa. Lot ba tedero meruno la wang rotu betie. The Paris ume la wang rotu betie. The sub-county la wang road meru betie why district. Road center me a giki mana should now give respect. Karadong me meru faworunga tu meru wo. Mukene getiki ngejni under what? And it also takes a milestone for you when you don't need in what. That's the difference. Ngej kong meru betie and nature is attachment. Attachment meru jomano timo administrative teach of Dorugi and that is lacking. Okay. Anyway,
First of all, Acoli tradition is quite a different tradition compared to the Bantu tradition. Therefore, our mode of operation in terms of the traditional leadership is also different from those who are from the Bantu or any other ethnic group. So Acoli as an ethnic group has got quite a number of small, chiefdoms. And this affects also some sense of operation in one way or another. Literally, these chiefdoms were meant to coordinate with a big ruot, like the kabaka of Buganda, the way they call them, but ours is ruot. So what I have seen over time, for as much as I've been on earth, is that the culture and the loyalty to the traditional leaders is kind of eroding. And this has got two factors. Number one, what we have gone through as the Acoli ethnic, group. The war really impacted negatively on our culture. And since the war was a prolonged war for over 20 years, there's this generation that were born around that time that do not understand what the Acoli tradition was all about. How we dance, what we eat. They're totally detached because they have not seen it. Then after the war, we went into some sort of lifestyle that was mixed tradition and the modern way of life. So this is also affecting understanding the tradition, because what brings the questions of loyalty to the traditional leaders is about understanding what the tradition is all about. So the mismatch or the misperception of thinking that probably the tradition is more of a lesser value than the modernity is what has to be addressed. It's not about the personality of the person who is sitting on that chair as a role, actually. So what do we have to do? We need to make a deliberate approach to, explaining the tradition of Acoli people. How does an Acoli woman dress? How does, an Acoli woman cook? What are the nice things about our tradition? But the perception has to also be dealt with. Because if you think you're admiring the Buganda tradition and yours could be of lesser value, then you are mistaken. Acoli has got quite a number of dances, more than any other, I think, tribe. So that alone is fun. But the language itself, how many times do you speak Acoli language with your children? Today we have a generation that the mother and father can speak Acoli, but the children do not know anything to do with Acoli. I am not even going into perspective of the mixed marriages. The intermarriages is okay. Probably you may have challenges with the language, but you can try and make a child appreciate that being an Acoli is actually a pride. Who is the traditional Acoli person? Very brilliant, very tall, very assertive, very honest. That those qualities anybody would want to associate themselves with. So if we don't address the perception about our tradition, then the traditional leaders will be seen like they are irrelevant. But in the actual sense, they play a very key role. Those days, the traditional leaders would even impact on the development of the community. Today, if we are talking about the group farming, that is how we used to do it. And there would be competitions. And the first harvest would be taken to the Ruot, to the Acoli leader. And that really made people, have this enticing need to have a perfection in whatever they do. So we had our own traditional way of handling things. And I think if that kind of tradition is brought back and we start practicing it.
One anen men tini tika pengani abedi kin joma o wa rudi en ni kilo pien ikar me chon nodum gamente mo karani uto kero par rudi ke rudi so ku bedu mo ma pol mo nodum rudi pe ento dongi nge ki ta tam wa mo ga ali ba chen ni abo wan ni pier bo wan wi abiki kenyi adong pen che ko lokka yeni do tela te kwaro do tu so jemi ma pol no do roche ye kenyu ma widanu be no chero wi lo now ano na ti council madem ma town council kan luan be the late Oriam John Bosco no ti won koma big me keep district local government ero kare ki luon lu dirare ari ki sub county meti attending council matit me local government ero ko chako bino ni lu dir en ma lu ari menu lu dir kalam kitiga yar jo mag yango ti ba government ko kwano gi pe gi lok mo mag dwaga wan wa bedo pin wan ki de rembu ikare ma wono ni lu dir ma wa kelo gi council dano cha wa ni kin rodi kalam panda ko bedo pin wan ki de John Bosco Riamon or Kikan on Koma Beach Kitkum District Local Government. Kare no pin like KT Kitkum kan no loy wala mo loy wa gago loy wa ade loy Kitkum. Chidong tam biam ki bot en ma chal dok dan man dir ni ma. Me wa ni at ke ba chuliti. Di chak ne no at ke. Chua no ni at ke dong kelo dok ka ma pat pat. Wa da kalau dir ni ku bin ka choke no gi rom do xolo ki nge ke ñu dong en pe ko en me ner ma no wi dano wi lo pe gi nge ke ta te kwar gi tikere jong ker pe nge wa do ka gi o wa ko dong yemi eni o chero bot NGOs kuno ni tama be in fact funding me chiel mu ko bino me rojo te kwa wudi chake ki bot Belgium government mago mi walk through window ci chana en ki tiu kede metem rojo kama otke ti ye en me nero wa dum miri padano ti en bien dano pe ku jolo otke gi chunya chel dano ti bir reserve gino no pe woni gino no do cha kamu ken be la ro be di ye ci dong lok eno ne wa ko ka ini nen ku be de wudi me chuli pe nen talo ala la pitien lok
Politicians are very interesting personalities. During campaigns, they want to use every structure that exists. Even if they contribute to 2% of their, successful political bid, they are going to go to them. So you find us running to traditional leaders. I'm going to reward so and so. I'm going to go to this cultural leader during the campaigns. So if I go and visit Ruot of Palar, my opponent will definitely feel like probably Ruot of Palar is supporting a bear against me. That's why they will say, accuse them. But even you can go there and meet him and talk to him. And because our traditional leaders, especially those who are heading the small chiefdoms, are really poor, they can't afford a living. You realize somebody cannot even afford a transport means. And those traditions of those days of bringing the first harvest and going to the Ruot's place is no longer there. So they are very vulnerable indeed. And you'll find even one of the traditional leaders going to campaign for somebody. I have had this, but for me, I've not gotten involved in that. So some of these issues, if they are not addressed, it's going to be a problem. Normally, or in the past, what I read and heard stories from my grandparents was that the traditional leaders would get things from the community free. You go to see a traditional leader with some chicken. You take some, cassava. You take some, that's how they used to survive. But in this generation, everybody is for themselves. No one is bothered. They'll ask a question, anyway, for what? But if there's a challenge in the community, that's when they will say, we want the Ruot to come and talk. We want the so-and-so to come and give an opinion. And when we have clan meetings, that's when they are recognized. So this is a challenge. If they are vulnerable, they are bound to do anything that might be untraditional.
Traditional is not right. Check pillion again, they should get involved. They are in Lutin, okay? They are the last resort, last center for appeal. One kumera, one PM, see what we do, da, Matit, Merwari, what Merkulu, okay, but Karuchaka, now we know appeal to Bonachana to win it. That's why they should be independent. They can do you, Lutirua, Ruelua.
Kit ma kung ka ni dong gi ngeo dok ot ke chele dok bena dong lu dir mo go tie kadi be lu dir mo kan ma dong ti ko ne lu teno gi chak ne no gi dong chalo ot ke ma mir wo gina pira tek we ot ke chungba no council pa jomu teki ti chok ke ot ke lu mi tam mi ot ke en beru lu diro mo teki magi mero no mier ku mi tam por ruot ba do ruot ti ke so we ot ke ma mewa chung ki ket lu diro mo teki ku be tie ku kan be no kam kan ki tie eno no pe ki ngai ngo ma mier ki tim pian gineno ot parot ti nono ti gena chiel mu kan magirom ti me medical council enen wana chuli mirwa ye ni ot ke no yang ti ma chak chero to le bol luak eni i chak ni ot ke ga chela chel ko nya ngo magirom mi ne we ot ke do te pian en me nan pa lo la ka chungi pa ba nyoru chungi pa ba toru chungi gen gu ye wa okay ka dong ot ke yang ti we dong wa mi u bet kita yang ti ke ma ran le ko me ga chul ni gu ye ni ot ke dong ti ki chak mi ko kit mu no miete we ke ku chung ma te pedong gitam pi kony ma yaw kar ngej ma NGOs okelo ci dong gu wex gi yu yen NGOs do okelo ci gu wex ci wana chu mirwana e dong bin ka kony gi men wex chu.
Now it is our role, me and you and other people, to empower our roadie, because they are not working. They are not people who are class that they pay them salary, that they do what. So now, as the society is saying, please, we need some support from you, and they don't have. We need to empower them, give them support, and in turn, they will give back to the community, and community will go to them.
Number one, we need to explain to the people the background of how the tradition of having ruot came into existence. There's another narrative that says that other sections of the Acoli group will say this is not our ruot, this is ruot of Paira. Others say, we have our ruot here, you know. Acoli people are very interesting people. You know the word of a ruot ki order? How did it come in? Because there's some background of feeling like I can be on my own. So unity is strength. I really embrace unity. Culture is identity, and everybody must really embrace culture. But there's a lot of work that must be done by the traditional leadership. Probably we, the political leaders, can also play a role and offer a hand. We must sit on table and reshape our cultural, loyalty, cultural belief, cultural thinking, and make people feel the presence of our traditional leaders. If we do that, then all these other things will just follow suit. But if people don't feel, that acceptability and that sense of belonging is not addressed, no one is going to care about which what is there and what is doing, and we will continue seeing our culture eroded until it's normal.
There should come up a proper administrative structure right from the village up to Mala. Kama Prime Minister here. Ma Prime Minister ela dojo enone. Prime Minister no local ginmaki mogoki council of Wodi no local board that did we rode it and it was paying, and it is a decision mano mer implementing. You cannot expect Wodi maguchero perpenge maginto awara dogin me duchen ka implementing decision ja dana chaku me disrespect enough. Your member again could be enforcing with that is my recommendation.
So what the team of the traditional leaders must do is to work on the perception, is to work on making sure that people believe in our tradition, by also coming out to make a stand on some of the issues, and a firm stand, that whether it's a very popular stand or not, but people must follow. And if there is something which is organized deliberately, people will begin to see that without the traditional leadership, probably we may not have done this. So some of these interventions must be done, and it's not late. Charle